Can you tell me what are the common challenges that companies face when they are trying to identify the foundation of their GTM strategy? How can they overcome them? Like, I've seen that you have gone through multiple companies to where you
Yeah.
are now. So, what have
Mm.
been your observations on that?
Sure. I think first companies have to come with a vision that it will take 6 to 9 months, right? It will at least take 6 months to figure out GTM. Because if you look at it in 3 months, because companies want it figured out in 3 months. You're not going to get it figured out in 3 months. Of course, you'll not have enough data to speak for itself in 3 months. There would be so many. So I'll chart out some challenges, right? One of the challenge is how to figure out your sales cycle. You can't figure out your sales cycle in 3 months because some companies, so enterprises average out on 6 to 9 months. Okay. Your SMBs might take, some company might close in 1 month, but your SMBs on an average takes 3 months, right?
Hmm.
Then there would be certain like mid market, which would be your 4 to 6 months kind of size. So even to identify this sales cycle, right, you have to be in the process. What happens is that if someone or a certain rep doesn't close in a certain time, right, they think that it's the rep's issue and it's not the company, it's not, because there are so many nuances in the process, right? It's the buyer circle that is getting involved, right? There are so many conversations happening. So I think what they should focus on is how are my next steps, how are certain my deal criteria defined, right, in the
Yeah.
process when I'm figuring out my GT, because at the end of the day, my go to market is subjective to my revenue or the closures. How many customers do I onboard at the end of the day? At the same time, how many conversations did I had, let's say demos, versus how many of them converted to opportunities? That will
Hmm.
also define in terms of how are we doing with respect to our product, right? Are they even getting the value proposition out of it? Things like those. What happens is that sometimes when you look at the number at a surface level, it's just numbers that, oh, we did 20 demos, right? We only had two SAOs. It's the accounts executives problem. No, leaders should actually, like when it's a small, like early stage startup and you're doing 0 to 1, you should actually be really involved and not push too much, because you're a founder, of course, you will have that association with your own product. But at the same time, when you zoom out a little and you look at it subjectively, you will learn a lot from your demos itself. You'll start listening to your customers more and more, right?
Yeah.
Another aspect of GTM is you can run a few pilots, right? Let's say some customers can be your design partners. Okay.
Hmm.
When you have design partners in place, they can use your product, right? They can pay you or not pay you. It's up to you how to. Ideally, I never prefer not, getting paid. If you're providing a service, you have your resources allocated, right? People are spending time, be it any particular product or your customer. You should have some nominal, if not expensive, but they will give you a lot of data, because
Got it.
these are the people who are using it on ground and it's a part of their day to day. Like for salespeople, it might be their Apollo or outreach, right? They can absolutely tell outreach where they're lacking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They can absolutely tell Apollo what they want. So I think
Hmm.
you should be talking to the people, not the higher level, because for higher level people, it's the reports, it's the data. But you should be talking to the people who are using it in their day to day, right? Let's say you have an HR, you're an HR tech company, and if you deal in engagement or if you deal in rewards and recognition, you should speak to HR VPs. You have to figure out what problems they face. So these are some of the challenges that are
Hmm.
there, because how do I position is the biggest challenge in GTM.
Hmm.
And the position can only be figured out when you're actually talking to your customers or you're doing these sort of things in place. You're talking to your sales team because they're upfront. And then
Got it.
on the high level, you can create a messaging around it and test it out. There's A/B testing always happens.